I wanted to start running since the beginning of the year and I failed. I wanted to wake up early every single day and I failed. Yet, somehow, when I took an oath to start journaling every single day in 2026, that habit stuck with me. I also doodle now, like whenever the chance I get. I do it very consistently without being forced. So, it does make you wonder, why can't I go for a run but I can journal every single day? Today, I want to show you the science behind why some habits stick and others don't, and why it's never really about the willpower. Because it was never about the willpower. Hi everybody, I'm Navya and welcome to my channel. Today, we're getting into the actual science of habits. Why our brain resists change, why we keep failing to do new things, and we keep repeating the same things over and over and over again. Today, we delve into what works for us and what actually doesn't. So, let's get into it. Here's what is actually happening in our brain when we try to form a new habit. Our brain has basically one primary job: to keep us safe and to keep us alive. Therefore, anything new, anything unfamiliar, anything which requires extra efforts from our side, is triggered as a potential threat by our brain. This is called a habit loop. Every habit has three parts: a cue, a routine, and a reward. A cue is something that helps trigger a habit, trigger a response, okay? And a routine is something that is a behavior itself to the cue which got triggered. Reward is what your brain gets after you've done the routine. The problem with most habits is that cue is easy, getting into a routine is easy, but rewards, which helps our brain feel like we've achieved something, is not instant. For example, when I was talking about running requires efforts. Running requires efforts. But those efforts will be visible in the upcoming 3 to 6 months, where the reward is not instant. That is why I've been failing, because the brain requires the rewards now, immediately. For the same reason, that is why we feel scrolling is so productive for us. I mean, not really, but we feel good when we scroll, because your brain is craving for content. Your brain is bored. What happens? Routine. You start scrolling and boom, you have instant reward. You have the content going on, your brain feels like boosted, and that is something you have developed as a habit loop. 3 months down the lane, 6 months down the lane is something which is too far for our brain. That is why we could not develop a habit. And habits that actually feel hard but good later, like running, waking up early, are so hard to start. Yup. Now you might be thinking that, oh, that means my brain is broken. Not really. Your brain is not broken. It is just doing exactly what it was designed to do by you every single day. You've made it normal for the brain to wake up late, to scroll and do nothing, and to sleep till 3 o'clock in the morning. That is why it is the routine for you. Therefore, whenever you try to start something, your brain triggers it as a very, very potential threat. Now, this is where it gets interesting. When I built my habit of journaling and doodling, I look back what worked for me while doing these activities and what did not work for me while I was trying to go for running. It all makes complete sense. Journaling and doodling gives me instant gratitude. It gives my brain instant reward, because we feel calm, we feel clarity, and we get the product of what we wanted to do on our pages, whether it's doodling, whether it's journaling, whether it's writing, anything, right? The want wasn't 3 months away like running might give me. That is why it actually worked for me. This is what the researchers like to call a 2-minute rule. If you want to start a hobby or a habit, you have to narrow it down to something which will only take 2 minutes. That means when you start journaling, you do not have to fill the journal. Just take 2 minutes of your day and write one page. If you want to learn how to go for a run. Just take 2 minutes of your day and start going for a run for only 10 to 15 minutes. What will this result? No, this will not change your life. But because you have to understand, starting is always the hardest part. And when you get done in the next 2 minutes, it builds a momentum and your new routine slowly and gradually starts to take over. So, what does science have in store for all the problems that are not happening? In case, when I talk about us, this is what's going to happen. We are going to reward our brain for every new routine it is going to pick up. If I'm talking about running, it is not going to give me instant reward like we talked about. However, I can put on a playlist only I could listen to when I'm running. Therefore, an immediate reward. My favorite music. Second, there's this thing called habit stacking. You can stack up one habit with another in order to create a momentum for the day. Let's just say I want to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. If I wake up and sit and do nothing, it will ultimately make me feel like I'm bored and I should just go to sleep. However, if I stack that habit with something which I already do, like making a tea for myself or journal, that will create a momentum of the day and the existing habits becomes the cue for the new one. And fourth, stop identifying yourself as someone who is trying to build a habit. Remove that thought that I have this new year resolution, I have to do it. Remove that thought. Start saying that this is something you already do it. Train your brain in a way to think that it is not something which is new. It is something which has already been there in your routine and you just have to restart it. Don't say I'm trying to become a runner. Just say I am a runner. Don't say you want to become a novelist or a writer. You are a novelist or a writer because your behavior will always follow your identity. I repeat, always. I used to think that I am the kind of a person who will never be able to build habits. Too undisciplined, too reckless, too lazy, too inconsistent. But journaling every day and doodling are the habits that I actually have. And I'm not just saying for the video, I genuinely have those habits, the real ones, the ones I have built without forcing. Because I finally started to adapt to the new environment and stop fighting my brain into thinking that I have to do this. If I can do it, you can do it too. And if we're talking about the example for running, yeah, that is still a struggle for me. And I've been trying to get into running since the beginning of 2026 before I actually wanted to start this YouTube channel. But now that I've been doing the research about it and we've talked about the habit thing, I am actually going to implement this tomorrow and wish you could do the same. So all we really have to do, you and me together, is pick one habit, make it tiny, make the reward immediate, stack it into something that you already do, something existing, and stop for it to feel like you have to be ready for it, because you're never going to be ready. You just have to get into it. Start anyways. Start small, start today. If this gave you something new to think about, please subscribe, because every week we learn something new together, you and me. See you in the next one. Bye guys.